Today we are going to delve into the topic of saints and swindlers. One time, a devotee and disciple he approached Prabhupada. He approached Prabhupada. And he was quoting a philosopher. And he was telling Prabhupada that this philosopher has become very famous. His philosophy is very famous philosophy. He's getting the grip, he's getting the hold of people, becoming famous and popular. He has an interesting philosophy. Prabhupada was hearing. Then he said, his philosophy is that don't follow anyone. That is philosophy. Don't follow anyone. And Srila Prabhupada, your one-line answer to that, Srila Prabhupada said, then why are you following him? Because if you don't follow anyone, you're following this philosophy. And if you really want to don't follow anyone, follow the philosopher. That means you have to not follow anyone. That means you have to not follow the philosopher also. That means his philosophy or don't follow anyone. So many times, when it comes to spiritual advancement, people have the notion that, or there is this common dictum which is prevalent, that this is something within our grip. This is something within our grip. Therefore, we don't need anyone. We don't want to follow any protocol. So the modern day notion, if you see, not following any protocol, not following any people, not following any scriptures, that means what is the direction or directionality to take? Whatever feels like spiritual is spiritual. In fact, we will see that this is the very disease which has led the which has been responsible for the kind of messy situation in the world which is in now. And this is the kind of principle which is responsible for the emptiness which is existing in the modern day culture and lifestyle. Why? Because the previous, why? Because the aphorism is that, okay, let me, whatever it feels like is going to give me happiness, that is what I should pursue. This is what everybody feels. And therefore, everybody is pursuing every direction here and there. And with that random push, the entire society is in a chaos. Entire society is in a chaos. Rather than understanding that what is it that can give us happiness, what is our constitutional make, what is our need, what is the exact food and diet, and that instead of supplying that, this random trajectory or this random running around here and there, not going to solve the problem. Rather than it's going to colossal degradation of the dissatisfaction index of the society, well-being index of the society. The same approach when applies to spirituality leads to a problem. That okay, whatever it feels like spiritual. We were shocked one time. We were searching a flat in Jadavpur. We came across for students, devotee students to stay. And this flat was on rent. And then we told the landlord we are spiritual, we do Aarti, we chant. He said, oh, you're spiritual, we are also spiritual. times a day. And at the food time, meal time, the 25 cats get 100 more. So 125 cats you are feeding. That is our spiritual. So people make it any kind of notion actually, any kind of weird notion. One time one software engineer was saying, my company is very spiritual. I said, what do you think? Do they give courses on Bhagavad Gita? Or do they have Kirtan Buddha? I said, no. They don't believe in gender bias and women free mixing. They are not believing in the body and bodily gender and all that. No. Spiritual or sensual? No. Something to be understood. So the whole point is that spirituality is not a blind stunt. Life is not meant to be a blind stunt. If it hits, it hits. If it doesn't hit, it is not how life is made. This kind of blind stunt, maybe the matrix of world, which is deprived of a higher dimension of consciousness. But one who's fortunate enough to get access to a higher dimension of consciousness. The world is not so complex. This kind of blind matrix, this kind of blind matrix, it's not going to go down. Actually, we have only one life. We have only a short time with us. Why to waste it? Why to waste it? That's a good point. So therefore, we had discussed a few sessions back that actually when we go ahead to gain knowledge, there are two ways of gaining knowledge. One is inductive approach of gaining knowledge. One is deductive approach of gaining knowledge. Inductive approach is about I can figure it out myself. Inductive. This much I know, I will expand the practice of my knowledge. By hit and trial, either and either, somehow or the other. Fluke or proof. So person feels that I will expand my knowledge on my own. I don't need anybody. I don't need any directions. I don't need any validation. I don't need any support. I can grasp it myself. That's the inductive approach. The deductive approach is to learn from a bona fide authority. So when we apply that to spirituality, it means to learn from the scriptures. The Lord has given invaluable gems of divine transcendental wisdom in this scripture. Let me amass these gems. Let me learn from them. Let me learn from the previous acharyas how they have led a life of dedication, their words, their lives, their beliefs. Let me learn from the devotees who are sincerely practicing. That's deductive. So which is better? It's a big debatable question. Sometimes some people will say, no. Yeah, you should make your own way. You drive your way. There is, deductive, what is the thing? No, is ready-made toast is given to you and you just eat it. Yeah, I mean, the experience of the joy of a feast lies in eating some ready. No, it lies in eating cooked preparation. If all what you have is raw, then there is going to be a big effort to actually convert it into a feast. And if you don't know the recipes and you want to do hit and trial, my God, it is going to be all the best. It is going to be miserable experience. Yeah. Like I remember first time I was cooking in the temple actually on a Sunday. I was cooking Monday morning. And I had just seen actually, through the glancing of the window, generally what is the procedure. So I knew oil is good. Maybe the oil becomes a little hot. Then you put whatever masalas or whatever spices, masalas you want to put. And then you put some ghee and then you see whether it's pakwa or not. Put some water and finish. Put some salt. So I tried it out. Explained. Nobody else. So I volunteered out. They said, with my full analysis. So I could actually I also had got. So I liked the Sahaja what I had prepared. It was so nice, like that. But the next day again, there is nobody to cook. I said, no, I'll cook. And everybody there, 25 devotees. They said, no, you please don't. You please, sorry. You please, you chant. You better chant the name. Book, you don't. Why? Because it was a hidden trial strand, hidden knowledge. So that's a point. That is the point. People say, no, there is fun, there is creativity. Is there fun and creativity in a blind hidden trial, or is there going to be fun and creativity in a guided tour? So, what is going to be a better experience? A guided tour or an unguided random tour? So, when you exactly know that this is the path, and if you walk the path, then these are the milestones which you are going to hit. And as you get the milestones, then your excitement, then your confidence, and your faith is going to increase because you are going closer to the destination. And then, knowingly that you have going closer and closer and closer and closer, when you reach the destination, there is joy. When you reach the success, there is joy. In a blind stand, there are no milestones. There is no pathway. So you don't know how much you have progressed, whether you're going the right direction, wrong direction, you're taking a detour, what is happening, you don't know. So that's the point. And then people say, no adventure. If I follow somebody, what about adventure? So adventure has a prerequisite. The prerequisite of adventure is what? The prerequisite of adventure is what? That your attempt, whatever random attempt it was, has to be a success. Then only you can call it adventure. So if it is a failure, then it is not adventure, it's a nightmare. It's called as a nightmare. Now, this is the point. And most of the hidden trials will fail. Rather, the adventure is in crafting it out in you with your own hands and seeing that how that principle you are also able to install it in your life. Just like we can take the example of cooking. I remember when you so I have had this experience so many times that whenever I take a new recipe and I try it out and I offer it to God, give to devotees, and I see that they're happy, that gives so much joy and adventure. So yes, there are thousands of recipes in the world, but something is has been something I was able to experience it myself, and I have installed it in my system. And now with my own hands, I can prepare that recipe. And I know that the taste is going to come out fine, and devotees will be happy. So that's much more of an adventure rather than simply trying it out. Put some sabji, put some masala, and then just wait for the whole out. So that's not adventure. So inductive knowledge takes time. It is slow. It is risky. It will meet a dead end. At best, it is very slow. At best. But inductive knowledge is fast. And we can make much more progress. We can make much more. Therefore, there is an interesting saying which says that real intelligence lies in accepting the intelligence of others. That is where real intelligence is. In accepting the intelligence of others. So we don't have to reinvent the wheel. What to say of anything else? Even PhD research does not follow blindly. Every PhD researcher has to base his research on the existing research. If you're not able to base it, then your research has no place left. That means every researcher, like any PhD candidate who's taken admission for 1.5 years at least, is simply reading papers, different papers, to understand what is the level of research which is reached in a particular subject, in a particular domain. And then he can try to understand what has happened already and what has not happened, what is the small, what is the small delta, research follows a deductive protocol, not an inductive protocol. So why then hook on? Why then hook on? So why then hook on to our own misconceived notions, or hook on to illusory notions, and deprive ourselves of the meaning, the depth, success, and the altitude we can reach within our own lives? Actually, that's what Vedas are there for, actually, to help us achieve that meaning and success in our day-to-day lives. Srila Prabhupada explains in the purports to Bhagavad Gita. So Bhagavad Gita, we see the breakdown of Arjuna is a classic example portraying that even if a person is a hero, is very scholarly, is very powerful, is very learned, when it comes to situations of life, everybody breaks down. There is not a single example who can stand when it comes to situations of life. Okay, some Schrodinger equations still one can crack, but life situations and life problems, hardly anyone can crack. It is very difficult to crack problems of life on one's own. Even Arjuna could not do it himself. By his own learning, by the power of his learning, by the power of his strength, by the power of his creativity, he was not able to solve the problems of his life. But by a simple step, he solved it all. And that is by taking shelter, he surrendered. I am now your student and disciple. Please instruct me. I am taking shelter. You please instruct me now. What is the right path? And there Srila Prabhupada explains the purport very beautifully, elaborating on this theme. Srila Prabhupada explained that everything in this material world is a source of perplexity for everyone. There is no exception. Everything in this world is a source of complexity for everyone. And therefore, Prabhupada says it behooves an intelligent person to take shelter of a bona fide spiritual teacher and learn from him the principles of Krishna consciousness. And in that way, one will sure shot be able to solve the problems. It behooves an intelligent person. Sometimes people say, no, I'm fearful. I am fearful to take guidance from scientific person. Why should I teach? Okay, what is the fear? I said, no, I will use my independence. No? So I should have an independent thinking. I will use my independence. So that's one of the fears which you can come up actually. Now we have to understand that what is loss of independence? What is loss of independence? Following the principles, just like you see, the point is following now suppose in any country, if you follow the rules of the country, it is not loss of independence, but rather you gain independence. That's true for any country. Like suppose one's own nationality, one follows the laws of the state, then one is having freedom. One can do anything. One can purchase land, one can do business, one can earn, one can do anything. It's free to do it. But one doesn't accept the authority of the state. One tries to play around with the state, then one will be imprisoned. Like say for example, the state is telling give this much tax. So if one pays it honestly, there's no problem. Remaining money, whatever you want to do with it, enjoy. One has full freedom after that. But if one tries to play around with the tax and then he's caught in income tax rate, finished, he loses freedom. So by following the laws of the state, we don't lose it. Rather, we get it. Same thing applies true for other countries. So if you follow the laws of the other country, then you will get visa. If you get visa, you can go in the other country, then visa will get converted into permanent residency. You can move around in that country. But if you don't follow the laws, then the visa will be cancelled. You have to come back, you lose it. This is the point. Just like if one has to go, on the road, say 30 kilometers or on a particular to a particular destination. Now, if one says no, if I sit in a vehicle, I will lose freedom. Because if you have to sit in the vehicle, it's all jam packed, like that. I have to, just stand in a corner. But if I am like this, I can walk on the road in a grand style, move my hands, my legs, like that. So the point is that if you take a bus, actually, you will reach much earlier. So, and if you reach much earlier, you are actually free to do so many things which you actually wanted to do at the destination. But you go walking, by the time you reach, you'll be exhausted, if at all you are to reach. That's the point. So we lose freedom. We lose independence on a self. But when we apply the proper principles, the spiritual principles are like taking a flight. In a flight, you cannot just walk around. You cannot just have a 2-kilometer run in a flight. Just sit down. So that's not loss of independence. Rather, you are gaining freedom because you are going to the destination where you are much more free than you are going. This is the point. Spiritual principles give us vision, and it is we who have to understand. So that vision will make things clear in front of us, and then it is we who take the step. The action is in our hands, but the vision, we can learn. Vision we can install from a higher source. So therefore, spirituality never forced. Krishna never said to Arjuna, this is what you have to do it, and if you don't do it, you will be penalized. No, Krishna said, this is how it is. It's the reality of this world. Now you decide what you want to do. And Arjuna said, yes, I want to surrender to you. I want to fight now. I will fight for your cause, the cause of Dharma. So that's what Arjuna decided. The vision was given by Krishna in showing the reality of the world in a deeper angle, in a more holistic angle. And then Arjuna himself decided what he wants to do. That's the point. Some people say, no, in spirituality there are so many scandals where to follow. So now, if you say scandal as a reason for not being serious, or not following anyone, not hearing anyone, then there are scandals in medicine also. But then when we get disease, do we follow the same principle? We go to a doctor, we have to go. So the question is not that the scene has to be scandal. The question is to find a person who is scandal. Which domain is scandalous? But we have to find a person who is scandal. So here we should have a scientific. What is the scientific attitude? Scientific attitude is a utilitarian attitude. Just like if I have mobile, I have to charge my mobile. I take the charger plug point, I put it in the socket. I put it in the socket and switch on the switch. I put the switch on. Then I see whether my mobile is getting charged or not. If it is not getting charged, and I know that my charger is not having problem, that means the socket is there. So I'll take out my plug point and put it in another socket. So find a socket which works. So if you find a faulty socket, that doesn't mean that electrical engineering does not work. Find a genuine proper socket and connect it. As long as it is conducting electricity, which we can experience, we can connect to that. When that socket fails to conduct electricity, we can connect to some other socket. Not a problem. That's a proper attitude, actually. That's a proper attitude. Some people say, no, if I follow sadhu, I'll also become a sadhu. That is not exactly the case. In a society, everyone has different roles. Everyone has different roles. And we need the services of everyone. Just by going to IIT, everybody does not think of becoming an IT professor. Maybe 2, 3, 4, 5 people in a batch of 1,000 they think that. Or 10 people maybe. But not everyone. Just by going to a mess, we don't think of becoming mess worker. We are taking services from a lot of people. And what one has to become, that is based on a whole lot of factors and individual qualities. This is the point. So therefore, one should be far-sighted. To understand that I have less life and I want to make the best in my life, so let me get directions. Let me get access to the most efficient algorithms of life given in the Shastras, understanding the case studies of the Acharyas, and being in the association of devotees, so that I don't commit mistakes and repeat. Let me go forward. I want to go forward. I don't want to repeat the same class again and again. I want to transcend. That's a meaning. And therefore, Bhagavad Gita explains that one who does not invest his time and energy in spiritual subject matters, he is a Kripanaha. Kripana means a miserly person. He is not investing the moments of his life in a proper direction. He is wasting the moments of his life. He is Kripanaha. A Brahmana is a person who is broad-minded, who is far-sighted, who is investing in the right thing. Who is investing in the right thing. So the point is that we have to give up that inertia that because material things don't work, spiritual things will also not work. That is not the case. Just like one time a person was told that, okay, in this big pile of stones, there is one pearl, or there are a few pearls, and you can find it out. So he was sitting on the side of a river, he was taking the stone, looking at it, he was catching something, looking at it, it was stone. And then he was throwing it. So because he was seeing so many stones and all, he got tuned to just catching something in the hand and just throwing it. And in this spirit, he got the pearl, he didn't look at it properly and he threw it. Now after he threw it, he was saying, hey, what is that? So in a similar way, actually, when we come to spiritual life is the phenomenal. Things are revolutionary and spiritual. And therefore, one should not carry the same preconceived notion that because in the material life we are suffering, trying out anything, everything, spiritual life also. No. That is why one should do a guided trial, so that one doesn't waste time and one can quickly get results. The results are sure, the results are guaranteed. So Bhagavad Gita explains that when a person is materially attached, then the person becomes blind. And a blind man cannot see properly, and therefore a blind man will take a mistaken direction. He will make mistakes and moving in the direction. A blind man. So therefore, Bhagavad Gita explains that therefore a person when he is attached, he will not be able to decide. Therefore, you will see a materially minded person, for him the pathway, there is no clarity, everything is very hazy, and his mind goes crazy. So hazy crazy game is going on. Materialistic game, hazy crazy game. His vision is hazy, his mind goes crazy. When a devotee has clarity, so a devotee is not hazy. Okay, what should I do? Should I do this, that, very clear what he wants. Why? Because he has the vision and the torchlight given by the Shastras and the devotees. That's the point. So there are many layers and many levels of dharma. And on one soul, it becomes impossible to follow the right dharma. That's why sometimes people say that okay, one should be partial in justice. So those are all very good words to speak. But suppose if one's very close relative is there, and one is a judge and one very close relative is there on the in the country dais, like this would be very challenging. What decision one will take? There are levels of that. Similarly, the Shastras explain, okay, Mata Deva Bhava, Pitra Deva Bhava. Mother and father should be respected. There's no doubt about it. They should be respected. But suppose in a circumstance where a father is a drunkard and he has come back drunk and he is beating the mother and the sister physically on the road, the son comes, what is he supposed to do? He is supposed to go down and his father take the dust of his feet and say, what is he supposed to do? What is he supposed to do? So here now, a different dharma has to be applied, or a different level of dharma has to be. So if he pushes his father, sidelines him, protects his mother and sister, and in that if he has to be physically little rough, the father will get hit up because of that. So is that not higher dharma to do in that situation? That's important. One time in the Purana, there is a story which comes that one time a hunter was chasing a cow, and the cow was running for her life and running, and the cow passed through an ashram. So inside the premises of the ashram, but hermitage. So the hunter came and he saw there was a Brahman in that day, and he asked, "Okay, Brahman, which direction the cow?" Oh, sorry, not the hunter, butcher. No. This fellow was chasing a cow. And the Brahmana, the principle for a Brahmana, the Dharma says that okay, a Brahmana should always speak truth. But if he speaks the truth, the cow is butchered. So what should he do? So he was in a flux. So in the Puranic story, this Brahmana was in a complete turmoil. He was not understanding whether to tell the truth and not tell the truth. If you tell the truth, then you are becoming part of the murder attempt of a cow. And you're becoming a murderer, sharing the murder. So is that Brahman dharma? So now what is dharma? The two principles are clashing. Higher dharma, lower dharma is clashing with each other. This kind of situations exist every now and then in the world. Anyways, in this Puranic story, this Brahmana, he told the truth, the cow got killed, and the Brahmana got very severe sexual reaction because he got a share of Govardhan. So he got very severe. So therefore, Prabhupada making a point that this world is the source, everything is a source of complexity for everybody. Therefore, it behooves a bona fide person to approach, it behooves an intelligent person to approach the bona fide spiritual. So having understood this point, we have to understand now what is bona fide. And many times a good amount of learning takes place by contradiction. We know what is not bona fide, then we are clear that okay, this is not bona fide, and the learning of the bona fide becomes easier and deeper like that. This is the approach we will take today. We discuss about saints and swindlers. So one time, there was a lady, and this lady had gone to attend a Bhagavad Saptaha actually. So there was this sadhu with a big beard, the big long hairs and big beard, and then he was giving katha actually. And whenever the sadhu would become enthusiastic in speaking, the lady would start crying, as if she was so much affected. And seeing the lady's tears, the sadhu was thinking, oh, you see, I have become such an advanced fellow now. Now I can bring tears in people's eyes. I can penetrate their hearts and move them. You see the power of my speech. Yeah. So you're thinking like this. And all 7 days of this katha, this lady kept crying, different intervals. Sadhu was being very ecstatic. He and he's speaking, and then there are people who are being able to bring out tears. Oh, he would generate an agent of That's what he was feeling like. He was feeling it as a grand success. Anyhow, by the end of the Saptah, everybody was paying their respects and going and all that. So he wanted to ask this lady that what is it that moved her? So that lady also came to pay respects. So then when she came, she offered respect and he asked him. He asked her, okay, what was the point which was moving you in everyday speech? What was it that was moving you? So he was wanting to hear some stories, and then he was wanting to understand what was it that actually moved him. So this lady, she was quiet for a long time, and then she started telling. She said, at your lecture, though I didn't understood anything what you said on 7 days. So that was a shock for the sadhu, right? It was a shock for the sadhu. But then she said, you see, the point is, she said, you see, the point is that your beard is very much like the beard of my deceased poor goat, my daughter, my, part of the heart. My part of the heart, like kidney, my liver, whatever. And whenever he used to move and the beard would move, it was exactly how my goat moving and her beard was moving. And therefore I was sitting here like that. The sadhu got the googly of his life. In this way, actually, we can see that when it comes to spirituality, there are saints, there are swindlers, and we need to find out the rightful person, the sincere person out of these. So Srila Prabhupada was asked this question that why are there so many swindlers in the name of spirituality? Prabhupada gave a very important question. Prabhupada said that in this world there are cheaters because people want to be cheated. The world is not one side. The world cannot be one side. There are cheaters and cheated in this world. There are people who want to be cheated, therefore there are cheaters. This was an amazing principle. Prabhupada said, but what does it mean? There are people who want to be cheated, and therefore there are cheaters. So the meaning is people don't want to pay the price for spirituality. The price for spirituality is sincerity, dedication, sense control. One has to give priority to it. One has to give time, energy, sacrifice. Physical, mental, intellectual, verbal, financial. Genuine sincerity. But if one wants to get it cheaply and doesn't want to pay the price, therefore there are cheaters. So this is like the need, the supply and demand. Express a need and there will be some suppliers. Like say somebody wants gold in 500 rupees. 500 rupees you cannot get gold. Somebody wants it. And then that means what? And if people wanting 500 rupees gold, that means there will be some cheaters who will give some fake gold. So cheaters. Therefore, Prabhupada said that we should not genuine, and we should be genuinely ready to pay the price. Paying the price is auspicious for us only because it is a positive transformation in our mind. If we have to apply the process. That's cheaters and Saints and swindlers. Saints and swindlers. How to mind. So let us see the various types and categories of swindlers. Uh, the cheaters. The first one is the charlatan. Charlatan means a vidharmi. Vidharmi is a person who is following some or the other principle which looks like spiritual, but it actually blocks the actual principles of spirituality or actual religious principles to be followed. Vidharmi, that is called as. So just like sometimes there are professional reciters of Bhagavatam. Professional reciters mean they can recite scripture like anything, but they don't want to follow. So in practice, there is no devotion. But by rote, they can recite. Professional reciters. I have seen there are some kirtaniyas. They do Jagrata and Kirtaniya, but they get the mood after taking some, after taking a few pegs of alcohol. Then they get into that mood or bhava of devotion. And then they sing with that bhava whole night. And then the whole day activities are very, not at all divine, not at all moral. So that is called as Charlatan, Vedavadaraha. One who is just hooked to some external show of principle, but who is not actually following the principles given in the Shastras. One is not seriously practicing himself. So that is called as Vidharmi. Following some Bambo principles which block the actual principles. Like one time, an acquaintance was telling me about his experience in Rishikesh. He said this guy, this acquaintance, he was a journalist. So he said actually he got acquainted to an ashram. So he saw that Baba in that ashram. That was a famous Baba. So he would pose as if he is always in samadhi. So whenever some people would come for his darshan. So before people would come to meet him, actually he had an ointment. He would put some ointment in his eyes. So because of that ointment, what would happen is that when he would be sitting as if he was in samadhi, his eyes will open very slowly, and it would appear that as if he was in trance, and he's just coming out to this mundane world, as a kripa for the candidates who come to take his darshan. Vidharmi, Charlatan. In Krishna Lila, there is this story which comes, this beautiful pastime which comes, that there was an area where there were the Yagic Brahmanas. And these Yagic Brahmanas, they were performing Yagya to please Lord Vishnu. Anyhow, in the meantime, Krishna Balaram and the cowherd boys happened to come there. And Krishna Balaram understood that all the Gopas are very hungry. So Krishna Balaram told all the Gopas that we are hungry. If they tell we are hungry, then the Gopas will get food. Otherwise, they will not get for themselves. So then the Gopas said what to do. Then they said, okay, you go very near is the cottage of the Yagi Brahmana. They're doing Yagya. And you can say the Krishna Balaram has come. And you can ask for some food. So these small children, they went to the Yagi Brahmanas. The Yagi Brahmanas didn't even hear them. They showed them off. So very morose, the Gopas came back. Krishna Balaram said, don't worry. These Brahmanas are busy in their own Yagya. They're not hearing. So they said, you go back to that same place again. But this time you meet the wives of these Yagi Brahmanas. They're my devotees. You tell them about it. So that's what the children did. And the Dujapatanis, the wives of the Brahmanas, they became so excited when they heard Krishna is coming. So they took all that what they had prepared for the yajna, they packed all that into Krishna Balaram like that. So, but the behavior of the Yajnik Brahmanas, and then later Yajnik Brahmanas were ashamed that the wives, they were not knowing the mantras, they were not scholars. The wives were not knowing the mantras and they were not scholars. But then they could please Krishna. So this is Vidharma. Or following some ritualistic principles without understanding the essence of spirituality. Some prejudiced rituals, one is following. That is called as Charlatan. Like one time, a boy had so one time there was a boy who had some illicit relationship with a girl actually. Should not be there. They had the parents found out the girl's parents, then they proposed to the boy's parents, let's marry them. Because they already made a mistake. Now they can rectify, they can marry. So the boy's parents said, you consider and all that. So they took some weeks to consider, and then finally they gave the decision. They said, no, we are not marrying. And then the reason which was asked, why you are not marrying? They said, no, the girl is not a Brahmana, we are Brahmanas. Therefore, we are not marrying. As if the boy did some very Brahmanical activity. So that's charlatan. Now, the next point is H. H stands for hoaxer. So in cheat, we will discuss these 5 types of cheaters. The first one is a charlatan, who is practicing some principle, but that principle is actually obstructing the real practice of devotional service. Hoaxer is the second category. H. Hoaxer. Hoaxer is a person who introduces some new principles of his own, his new religion of his own. Such a person is called as a hoaxer. He introduces some his own ideas of what is called a spirituality. Like suppose there is some Baba, so there one spiritualist who would only produce ash. Srila Prabhupada was asked that, okay, Swamiji, this Baba can produce ash, this Baba can produce cash. So Prabhupada said that what is the big point in producing ash? So you can go to Shamshan, you can get as much ash you want. And about the cash producing Baba, Prabhupada said that, okay, if we can really produce so much cash, then why is he asking donations at all? He can produce, and why is he asking, and why not he produce cash and solve the poverty problems of the whole world then? So this is a hoaxer. So he introduces his own illusory principle. Like if one says nationalism is spirituality, that is nowhere in the Shastras it is mentioned. Okay, nationalistic feeling is a positive feeling. There's not a problem in that. From being self-centered, at least one is becoming nation-centered. I mean, there is a rise of selflessness in the domain level. That's fine. But saying that nationalist feeling is the be-all and end-all of spirituality, that is a self-introduced principle. Then there is another category of people who is called as Sahajiyas. So these type of people, they feel that, okay, So they introduced their own principle. They said, okay, we are worshipping Radha Krishna, like that. Krishna did rasa dance. Let us also do rasa dance. So I am Krishna, you are all gopis. Let us do rasa dance. The Sahajas. So they say, let us do rasa lila. So Prabhupada would call it as rascal lila. This is not ras lila. This is called as rascal lila. Such people are called as hooks. Yeah, then there are these Sahajiyas who consider or take the principle of spirituality in a very cheap connotation. Like they feel that okay, if I dress like a gopi and dance, in that just suppose a man is dressing like a gopi, he's wearing a bridal red color dress with bangles and all that, and he dancing. So if spirituality is not so cheap actually, and then they feel that okay, I have come in that gopi bhav. Like sometime or the other, you find some article. Like one time we were seeing a newspaper article. One police officer, he was, some SP or somebody, he was, he was dressing in that in a gopi dress, like a lady, and he was thinking, no, 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 I am in that gopi bhav. So in this way, the bhav doesn't come. It is considering Krishna and his relationships very cheaply. This is what called a sahajiya. The third kind of person is called as an egoist. So egoist is a person who is falsely proud. Egoist. In this category comes uh, all kinds of people or spiritualists who claim themselves to be incarnations of God. They come in this category. The scriptures say, I mean, no, Srila Prabhupada said a very interesting comment about India. Prabhupada said that it's like in a factory, on the conveyor belt of the factory, the final product comes out. So Prabhupada said actually India is that kind of factory in which actually in the conveyor belt of that factory, every other day some or the other god comes out. Some or the other god comes, some god or goddess comes up like that, and then they are there. So it happens now also. It's not a uncommon phenomenon. Every now and then somebody or some wave like that is there. So some spiritualist comes and then he's supposed to be very powerful. He's supposed to be all loving, all merciful for humanity and all. And then he poses himself to be God only, and everybody is just saluting. And then he's found after some days in a scam, uh, either money mishandling, woman mishandling, some of the other kind of scam like that. In London Times, there used to be a weekly column called as "Who's God This Week?" Who's God this week? Like that. Like there was one Baba, he used to claim that okay, he's Krishna. So his hand got fractured. People are asking, "Are you are God? How your hand got fractured?" He said, "No, no, no. When I was killing Ravana in my Ram avatar, then my hand got fractured. Don't worry." Like that. So one time there was one sadhu who was traveling in a plane with one of our devotees, our devotee teachers, Radhanath Maharaj. And this fellow was telling, "No, I'm God." And Maharaj was trying to explain, "No, no, we are living entities. We're very tiny, puny. We cannot claim to be God. We are servants of God. We should understand that. I should serve God." Yeah, no, 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 but I'm God. So Radhan Maharaj understood that this man is not going to hear. So therefore, uh, Maharaj then started chanting. Maharaj was doing other activities. Maharaj was started chanting. Actually, he was remembering Krishna. After some time, this gentleman, the sadhu, he got a calling of nature. Actually, so he was asking. So it seemed that he was the first time in his life. He was asking, "Where's washroom?" So, uh, so Radha Maharaj looked at him and he said, "No, you are God. You know, So you can control. You're controlling the whole universe. So you can control your call of nature also. So his call of nature from butterfly it became into a ferocious roar of a tiger and a lion like that, and it was irresistible. And he was irresistible. He was not able to control himself. And Radhan Maharaj is actually sitting on the ISIL seat, not on the window, the ISIL side actually. So Maharaj blocked it. I said, I'll not let you go. You are God, you control it. He said, "No." Like that. So, so within a few minutes, this person he was in such a miserable predicament. He was not able to hold it, like that, and and he was begging, please, please leave me. No. Otherwise, some disaster may happen. Some uh, not very palatable things will happen. Like that. So, like, please, please. So Maharaj said, so you're God? He said, no, no, I'm not God at all. Please leave me. And Anand Maharaj finally gave way. He said, okay, fine. Go at the rear end. He gave the pointers to where the washroom is. And all. He went. So he, whatever, did his, the call of nature. So this person came back, relieved and all. So Anand Maharaj said, so you understood? We are not God. You know? And the servant of God, we should be honest and sincere. Should serve God. And this man said, he said, no, 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 no. I am God. And then Anand said, what was that? That whole episode which happened. He said, no, 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 that was my Leela. So, one time, in Karnataka, actually, in the Bangalore television, they did one very famous show, actually. So, what they did is that, actually, Shastras explain that Kalki Avatar is going to come after some 4 lakh years from now. This is written in the Shastra, well documented. So, but anyways, Bangalore channel actually found out, who are the present Kalki avatars. So they got a list of 12 contacts. So what they did is that they invited all of them for an interview, but they did not live interview. But they did not tell one that the others are also getting invited. So they just called and everybody thought that they're just being called one on one. So up until the point that they were on their seats and it was a live show, nobody knew that the other Kalki avatars have been called. So here there were Kalki. So that was the show of all shows actually. There were 12 Kalki avatars actually sitting on the same dais, like that, and how the battle is going to be, how they're going to mess up with each other like cats and dogs. That was a show that was superb. It's TRP and everything was superb. The super show. 12 Kalki avatars, one go. So this is ego is. So one time, one sadhu, he thought that okay, he will launch himself as a Kalki avatar. So he tried it out. It didn't work out. He didn't achieve much success. So and then he thought, okay, what to do? So what he did is that he said, okay, I am whoever I am, but my wife, no, she is Durga. And that became a hit. Actually. That became a hit. So in this way, actually, we have to understand. That this is this is a symptom of a cheater, and ego is. Let us see further. Okay. Go back. Slideshow. So the next one is called as an abuser. Abuser is a person who uses jugglery of words, insulting words to bewilder people. So the category which is prominent in this are called as Mayavadis. They say that God doesn't have any form. His form doesn't exist. Uh, so see, that is where the proposition starts. God doesn't have any form. He has no hands. He has no legs. He has no mouth. He has no face. That is where they start from. So then, if you say, okay, if there's no form, then they're formless. Then where is he? He's everywhere. He's in everyone. So then the next corollary of that which comes is that, oh, that means you're God. That means I am also God. That means everyone is God. Such a person has used very great jugglery of words, but ultimately what he is speaking is a grossly materialistic consciousness. And I am only God. So one time, one sadhu, he went to the West, he became very famous with one speech. He said, because his opening speech was that, he said, you see the point. He said, my dear no, brothers and sisters, I have not come here to tell you that I am God. I have come here to tell you that you are God. And he got a lot of fan following and outroar. No? Oh, applause. Oh, everyone is God. Wonderful, wonderful. No? ये तो no, such a product. So such a person is called as, he's using jugglery of words actually. Now the Shastras explain that the God has both form and formlessness. Both features are existing. If something is not existing in God, how can he be God? So if we can have a form and God cannot have a form, that means God is lacking in some dimension. So how is he God? By definition, not God. So God has both these features. And then we should refer to the Shastras and the Acharyas to get a deeper understanding. Simply by using some jugglery of words, it is not going to work out actually. Like sometimes, they say example of a pot. No, it's there's a pot, So the air inside the pot is choked up, and once one breaks off the boundaries of the pot, and inside the pot, air outside the pot, you cannot distinguish. It all becomes one. Actually, that is not the reality. The pot analogy may not be very, now suppose there are some certain kind of insects or bacteria inside the pot. When the pot is broken, then also they remain localized only. It's not that the insects go everywhere, expand everywhere. So the analogy is not, the way the analogy is being spoken, that oneness is not oneness of like this identity. It is oneness of subsistence actually, that both are on the same plane. That's the point. So the analogy of an ocean is more valid. That a fish in an ocean remains a fish, it doesn't become an ocean. A fish in an ocean remains a fish, doesn't become an ocean actually. It's not that the fish goes out of the aquarium and the fish will become one with the ocean. No, it will become one in the ocean in the sense that the fish will be staying within the ocean, be completely inside the ocean. The oneness of subsistence ground, the oneness of purpose, not oneness of identity. Fish will retain its identity. The same thing is true for us. Krishna explains in Bhagavad Gita that we are eternal. Our identity never changes. We are part and parcel of God, and we will remain so forever. That's abuser. Mayavadi, abuser. Using jugglery of words. So the next person is a transgressor. Now, transgressor is a person who breaks principles. Like you see, now somebody smoking hookah, and because he's sadhu, and he has women surrounding him. Like there was one sadhu who used to speak some vulgar words, and people used to think that is Swami's mercy. No, it is not mercy actually. There was one sadhu who would be giving a Bhagavatam Saptah, with every 30 minutes he would have to go out for 2-3 minutes. And people used to understand every 30 minutes why he goes to toilet, or what he goes for. So therefore, some people, they chased him when hidingly, and they saw he goes back actually to sniff some tobacco, no, because he's not able to control every 30 minutes, or to smoke some bidi. So such a person is called as transgressor. Now there is a nice story in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's time also. One time, Lord Nityananda took Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to going, and Lord Nityananda said, "Would you like to visit a sannyasi?" And Lord Chaitanya, he heard the name of sannyasi. He said, "Oh, sannyasi, we'll visit. Why not?"
Lord Nityananda said, no, it's a different kind of sannyasi. I don't mind. Lord Chaitanya said, okay, I'll offer respects to him. Lord Chaitanya. So they went, so they went to sannyasi's home. So as soon as they went home, they offered obeisances. The sannyasi started telling Lord Chaitanya that, may you get wealth, may you get beautiful woman. And Lord Chaitanya was wondering what is happening. I am, because Lord Chaitanya himself was a sannyasi. So he was wondering, what is he giving me? Wealth, woman, followers, what is he giving me? And Lord said, Vishnu, what are you giving? We're giving blessings or curse? What are you giving? Sannyasi said, oh, you don't value what I say? Nonsense. Well, but then he said, okay, but I will feed you. So the sannyasi called his wife. Lord Chaitanya got another shock of his life. How can a sannyasi have his wife? Lord Nityananda said, no, this is a different kind of sannyasi, I told you. Like that. And then still Lord Chaitanya was wondering what's going on. Lord Chaitanya was completely, he was, Lord Chaitanya was completely restless now, because it's a very weird kind of sannyasi. And then he was offering them fruits and all. After that, he started telling Lord Nityananda and Lord Chaitanya, would you like to take some bliss? Lord Chaitanya didn't understand what is this bliss. Lord Nityananda, very great learned, he had practical knowledge. The Lord Nityananda said bliss means wine in simple terms. Oh, Lord Chaitanya heard that. He said, Vishnu, Vishnu, Vishnu. He dragged Lord Nityananda and both of them ran. And Lord Chaitanya directly jumped into the Ganges with all full clothes. The, so that bliss sannyasi, this is a transgressor. One who, this is a transgressor. So therefore, having understood what not to follow, now what principles not to be there, we understand that uh, uh, we understand that no, so then the understanding that what a genuine spiritual teacher should be, start becoming more clear. Actually, one time George Harrison asked Srila Prabhupada, who should be a genuine spiritual person, a genuine spiritual teacher. Prabhupada said in one line, Srila Prabhupada said, you have to find out one who is most addicted to Krishna, who is most attached to Krishna. So a saint is a cool person. He's a cool guy. So what is cool? A saint, he chants the holy names. He has no other business. He cannot stop chanting the Lord's names and the Lord's glories. That is a saint. O stands for obeying the Shastra. He obeys the Shastras. He follows in his own life. For him, preaching is more like sharing. Now, preaching is not showing off, but preaching is sharing for him. He's following all the time, and sometimes he sits down and shares what he's following. So he's sharing. So therefore, when a genuine sadhu who is following the principles of the acharyas, when he speaks, then his speech is imbued or infected with his faith. And when we hear attentively, that faith, that infection comes in us, and that is what ignites. That is what ignites, the dormant bhakti in our hearts. So he obeys the shastras. A genuine saintly person, he occupies in devotional service. He is ready to serve the Lord in whatever way. We heard Srila Prabhupada. We heard about Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada went to America. He would be cooking for the devotees as well. So he would give classes. He would give them guidance. He would help them in all possible ways. The young American boys and girls. And he would cook for them as well. Prabhupada would always occupy himself in devotional service. He would be engaged all the time in Krishna service. And then the next point, Guru, a genuine spiritual teacher, what he offers to a person is liberation from this cycle of birth and death. Liberation from the cycle of birth and death. Liberation from the cycle of birth and death. So let's see it in let us see it in a little broader perspective. So the first point which you can look for in a genuine spiritual teacher is, in a bona fide, in a spiritual teacher is where one can look at his general behavior. So what is his general behavior? Just like the saying goes, more things are caught than taught. So therefore, the Shastras explain a genuine spiritual teacher is an acharya. He teaches by his acharan. He is an acharya. He teaches by his acharan. General behavior. So a genuine teacher, he must be a person who is coming in parampara. Not that he was sitting in the Himalayas and he got some eureka sensation and he got some transcendental vision, eureka. It got some divine vision got installed in his system, like that. Or some lightning happened from some different sky and he got enlightened. No. He should be coming in parampara. Therefore, a good servant can become a good teacher, and a good disciple can become a good teacher. The one who has for decades and decades served his spiritual master genuinely can can actually be an instrument in the hands of his spiritual master and the previous acharyas in being a conductor and instrument of their mercy. We have to look at the speech of the person, not just when he is giving classes, but of the dais as well. What does he speak about? What is the subject matter he speaks about? The one who is most addicted to Krishna, he would speak about Krishna all the time. He cannot just stop speaking about Krishna like that. So we have seen in the beginning years of the movement, the Hare Krishna ISKCON movement, the Krishna consciousness movement, devotees were so infatuated or devotees were so attracted to Srila Prabhupada's genuine and sincere devotional service, the young American boys and girls, that whenever they would find Prabhupada in doing anything, they would start putting it on record. Prabhupada would go to the morning walk, devotees would go and put on record. And Prabhupada, many of these morning walks are recorded. Prabhupada is speaking pure Krishna consciousness. Whatever comes out of his mouth is pure Krishna consciousness. One time I found a tape of Prabhupada. This tape actually, Prabhupada is brushing his teeth. And this devotee has put that also on record. And Prabhupada is brushing his teeth in between actually, in between brushing, Prabhupada turns around and he starts speaking. And he speaks some Krishna Katha. Then again he continues brushing. Then again he speaks some spiritual point. So that is that is a guru. That is a genuine teacher. General behavior. General behavior. So in Guru, the next point is the Guru's understanding. What is the Guru's understanding? That's the next point. His understanding. So Guru is not a person who is a Sanskrit scholar, who is a Dvivedi, Chaturvedi, Trivedi, who knows all the Vedas. He is not an accomplished, he has not understood the scriptures by rote, but he understands the meaning and the essence of the scripture. Such a person is a bona fide person. Like the Yajnik Brahmana, they were very expert in Sanskrit scholarship, the mantras, the tantra, the mudras, and so on. But when God himself came in front of them, Krishna Balaram, they were failed to recognize him. You see the irony. So what good was there learning for? What good was there learning for? So Guru is not a Sanskrit scholar. He is not a grammarian. He has genuine love for Krishna. And for Krishna's pleasure, he can do everything. Therefore, Shastra says, Jait Krishna Tattva Veta Sai Guru Haya. A guru should not be seen based on bodily nationality, color of the skin, and a caste, and so on. One who knows the science of Krishna, he is a guru. He is a guru. Just like we have seen the example in our previous classes about the South Indian Brahmana, Sri Ranga. He was illiterate, but he had genuine love for Krishna. Because the imports of the Vedic wisdom got installed in his heart because of his sincerity and dedication. That's the point. Dedication is the key. If one is dedicated and sincere, the imports of Vedic wisdom are going to be installed in the heart. Then one's heart becomes non-different from Shastra, and therefore whatever one speaks will become Shastra Vakya. That requires decades and decades of dedication and sincerity. So such a person is a genuine spiritual master. Now in Guru, the next point was R stands for what is the relationship of Guru with wealth, women, and followers. So a genuine spiritual person is not in the least interested in wealth, women, followers for his enjoyment. Not at all running or hankering after any of them. Not at all running and hankering after any of them. One time, Srila Prabhupada's Guru, that is Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he was giving a class. And in his class, actually, many devotees were sitting, some well-wishers were sitting. So there was one industrialist, he had given a lot of donation to the people, he was also sitting. But this industrialist, what he was doing, in between he was talking, kusur he was doing here and there. So that is disturbing the class, that is disturbing the flow of the thought. So finally, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Maharaj looked at him and he said, Babu, what do you think? That you have purchased me with your money? This was what Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur said. He didn't just wanted to pamper him just because he's given some money for the temple, but he wanted to teach him the right principle. He wanted to teach him the right principle. So one time, Alexander the Great, he was going through India tour, and he met a sadhu in the forest. He was very impressed by the sadhu. So Alexander said, "Oh sadhu, I'm so impressed with you. I'm so impressed with you. I'll give you any benediction you ask for. Ask for sadhu, ask for mendicant, ask whatever you want to ask. I'll give you anything and everything. I am Alexander the Great." And the sadhu looked at him. He looked here and there. And then the sadhu again looked at him. And the sadhu said, and then in the meantime, Alexander is saying, ask whatever you want. You please ask me, I'll give you. Promise. So the sadhu said, move aside. And Alexander could not compile. He was shocked. He said, what did you say? Move aside. The sadhu said, I was getting nice sunlight because you came in the way. It is blocking the sunlight. Please move aside. That's all what I want. So he has the least interest in usurping money, wealth, women, followers for himself. So whatever comes in a sadhu's way, he engages. Whatever wealth comes in a sadhu's way, he engages in Krishna's wealth. But himself, he simply remains surrendered. That is a sadhu. So then the next point is R. So R stands for so after R, okay, the next point in Guru is U. U stands for ushers. What does a Guru has to usher? Usher means offer. What can he offer? What can he offer? So we saw that in Cool also the Guru offers liberation. So one time Srila Prabhupada was traveling in a train. And then what had happened was that there were some Marwari industrialists. And they happened to pass by the train. And they saw, oh, he's a sannyasi sitting. And they came with folded hands. Swamiji, Swamiji, hey, Swamiji, 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 Swamiji. आशीर्वाद दीजिए स्वामी जी, आशीर्वाद दीजिए, आशीर्वाद आपकी कृपा के बिना कुछ नहीं हो सकता है, भगवान की कृपा सब चला, आपकी कृपा, आप ही की कृपा है, आप ही है साधु महात्मा, आप आशीर्वाद दीजिए, आशीर्वाद दीजिए. They were saying. बस आशीर्वाद दे दीजिए, अपना हाथ हमारे सर पर रख दीजिए, बस आशीर्वाद दे दीजिए. That is what they were saying. Prabhupada understood their intent. Prabhupada understood their heart. So then Prabhupada pointed out to, Prabhupada said, oh, you want Ashirwad? They said, yes, Maharaj ji, Ashirwad de dijiye, Ashirwad. So Prabhupada pointed out to his two sannyasi disciples. They were young, but they were sannyasis. You know, you know, they were sannyasis. They were wearing that orange color, sannyasi dress. And they had I mean, they were living, fully dedicated that way. But they were, no Western, no, they were Westerners, young, like that. Prabhupada said, Prabhupada very intelligent. Prabhupada said, if I give you Ashirwad, oh, Prabhupada said, this is my Ashirwad. If I give you Ashirwad, you become like this. That's what Prabhupada said. Oh, immediately these Marwadi, industrialists and all, Swamiji, Dhanyavad Swamiji, Hare Krishna Swamiji, Hare Bole. They fled off actually. So Prabhupada said, this is my Ashirwad. So they understood. Prabhu, the Ashirwad means so they were simply attached to many things. So what kind of Ashirwad they were wanting? They didn't want it to, go beyond this material world, enter the spiritual world, and revive their dormant devotion for Krishna. They wanted money. And for that they were asking for Ashirwad. Like that. So therefore, if a guru can offer a spiritual world, if somebody can give you 1 lakh rupees and you are simply asking for 5 rupees, you say, no, mujhe 5 rupees. That is called a foolishness. So similarly, a genuine guru, he can offer us entrance to the spiritual world. He can offer us entrance. And therefore, therefore, to summarize, we understand that Srila Prabhupada's words, that it behooves an intelligent person to find a bona fide spiritual master. So deductive knowledge gives us the sure and rightful experience of adventure, creativity, and fulfillment and excitement. We have to find the right spiritual master, the right genuine teacher, one who is most ready. So we discussed 5 types of teachers. Charlatan, who follows some principle which is actually obstructing real principles. Hoaxer, a person who is introducing some illusory principles of his own and claiming that putting it as religion. The third, egoist, who's an incarnation. The fourth, abuser, who simply does some word jugglery and makes a cheating game and makes a concocted philosophy. And the fifth is a transgressor who breaks the laws of moral ethics as well and degrades to almost like an animal life, the transgressor. So genuine teacher should be most addicted to Krishna. He should chant the holy names, he should obey the Shastras, he should offer devotional, always be engaged in devotional service, and he offers liberation. So we have to see the general behavior of a guru, that he's following by the acharan or not, and then his speech all the time is about Krishna or not. All the time is about Krishna or not. We have to see that what is his understanding. Has he understood the essence, or is simply by rote Vedic scholar? That we have to understand. By rote Vedic scholar. Then you have to see that a guru, he is not attached to wealth women followers. And what he can usher is the entrance to the spiritual world. He can ignite that dormant, he can fuel and ignite that dormant bhakti in our hearts. So we'll stop here. Thank you. If you have any questions, we can take a question or two. It behooves an intelligent person to approach bona fide. Therefore, when Arjuna was very much begrieved and he had left his Gandiva and he was completely broken down, Dhritarashtra was very happy. He was hearing the online transmission by Sanjay. And Dhritarashtra jumping up and down, oh, Arjuna finished. So Sanjay warned him then and there. He said, don't be in illusion. Arjuna appears to have lost. But you will see the tables will turn very soon. And very soon Arjuna, he took shelter of Lord Krishna. And that was a turning point. It converted his failure into the greatest victory. The greatest victory. That's what happens by following the right directions given by the genuine devotees of the Lord. Okay, so we'll stop here. I thank you all very much for patiently and enthusiastically attending Sunday morning. We will be there with you again next week. Hare Krishna.